Sahana vavatu Sahanau bhunaktu Saha viryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jala Kalyane Niratam Karunalayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om everyone, and welcome to the second session of Booklight, our new CHYKWest initiative. We're very, very happy that you all can come. Last time we saw an introduction from Pujya Swami Sarveshananda over what it was like to be a devotee of Gurudev, and an introduction to what it means to be a chicken, we must. This session, we will have Swami Sarveshananda, to whom I will hand off to Ananta in just a moment. During the satsang, please feel free. We want to make this as much as interactive as possible. So during the satsang, if you have any questions that may arise, or if you have questions already that are relevant and pertinent to this this discourse specifically, or towards what it means to be chick, etc., it would be a great opportunity to ask Swami Sarveshananda. So the format will be as follows. On the bottom of your screen, you'll see there's a little green share button, and then on the right side, there's a little chat bubble. Click that chat bubble and scroll down to Shubhaniji's name and message Shubhaniji privately whatever questions you might have. So again, please feel free to ask questions. All you have to do is go to the chat bubble, find Shubhaniji's name, and ask the question there. After Swamiji's satsang concludes, Shubhaniji will pick on a few chicks and a few of the questions. You will be unmuted, be allowed to ask the question, and Swamiji will respond accordingly. So without further ado, I will hand it off now to Ananta, who will help introduce Swami Sarveshananda for this satsang tonight. Hari Om.
Hari Om, everyone. Although many of us are familiar with Swamiji's indescribable personality, I would like to say a few words to humbly introduce Swami Sarveshananda. Swami Sarveshananda is the resident Swamiji of Chinmaya Mission Dallas and is also the National Director of CHYKWest, the youth wing of Chinmaya Mission West. CHYKWest manages CHYK chapters all across North America, including the West Indies, and aims to create spiritual awareness among youth and young adults so that they live life with a clear and noble personal vision and an attitude of service to the community. Swami Sarveshananda was himself a Chik while growing up in India and received direct guidance from Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda. A dynamic and engaging speaker, Swami Sarveshananda works tirelessly to spread the wisdom of Vedanta through retreats, workshops, camps, and innovative youth programs. Despite his demanding schedule, Swami Sarveshananda is never too busy to bring cheer to children, guide a restless teenager, or joke with volunteers to light up their day. Swami Sarveshananda handles his busy workload with a smile. His calm demeanor and easygoing nature puts everyone at ease. I would like to once again thank Swami Sarveshananda for leading our Booklight Satsang today, and I can speak for everyone by saying that we are very grateful for Swamiji's presence and guidance. Thank you.
This is a great initiative, and I really thank Pujya Swamiji to having inaugurated this last week. And it brought in a flood of memories, because this book, as a chick study group material, I have been doing this since 89, 90. So I think it was in 91 that the first time that I got an opportunity to read this book. And for those of you who are searching for this book, thanks to the CCMT efforts, we have this book on almost all platforms as an ebook. You can as well download from the ebook apps, like it is there on Kindle, so you can as well access it from there. As the name suggests, we must. And Gurudev, in all his writings, I think this book is a very powerful way that Gurudev has presented his thought. That every time you read, there is a surge of inspiration that runs through you. And who else can be a greater example of what he has written down and jotted down for Tapon Prasad? These were the articles that were written, and he himself is a great example of all that which the book speaks. So when Gurudev begins this book, he says that each one of us have got a choice to make to be a better architect of our own lives. We can have that sense of making our life better, and that freedom lies in each one of us. But that choice can be made only by a few, because this freedom requires an intelligent pursuit. In this effort of intelligent pursuit, the best tool that we have is our own mind. By definition, when there are different themes of thoughts running through our mind, that means we have got a functional mind. All that we have to do is now have the ability to entertain and guide those thoughts with a particular texture and invigorating quality, which the positivity of this pattern strengthens the mind, as well as it helps that mind work through various aspects of our own mind's lower nature, so that we can weed them out, so that we can negate them. All through the Upanishads, all through the great masters and their lives, we find that when you read their works, here I have to share one personal example, that when I was still in Yuva Kendra, I had just finished reading Swami Vivekananda's complete works, and there was one book, orange book, that was lying in my father's library. So I picked on it, and it was Autobiography of a Yogi. And I had about 3/4 completed it. Gurudev had arrived into Hyderabad, where I was the Yuva Kendra member. And most of you who have read that book, it talks about the journey of Swami Paramahansa Yoganandaji. And there are a lot of miracles that he talks about. So as a young teen, my mind was quite carried away with that kind of an experience with a realized master. So one day I mustered up enough courage. I went to Puja Gurudev, and instead of asking, instead of seeking guidance, my audacity that I went and told Gurudev, Swamiji, tomorrow you're going to give me Diksha. And then Gurudev just looked at me, stared at me, and is like, I don't know what he was thinking. I said, tomorrow morning I'll come, I'll do your Pada Puja, and then you will initiate me. Hoping that those experiences that were given by Paramahamsa Yogananji, that some of them I would also experience. That, with the touch of a master's hand on my head, or, blessings, that I'll have a enlivening, unfolding experience. So the next day, early morning, I had only a bicycle. So I rode that bicycle in the chilly morning, reached Gurudev's host house, and he had, the compassion of this master, what to tell. He had opened the door and kept it open for me to enter in, and look at the compassion. He was entertaining a little kid's desire. And as I cracked open the door, I went inside. He was in his room, seated in the chair. So I had brought my bag with all the paraphernalia, a big thali where I could put his feet. I had seen the Pada Puja, and this was my first time doing it. So I somehow finished the entire Pada Puja, then sat down, caught his feet, and I said, Swamiji, now it's your time to initiate me. Initiate me so that I can experience it. So Gurudev looked at me and he said, your initiation will be very simple. Find all great Mahatmas, great masters, great sadhus, their autobiographies, and read them. That will be my initiation for you. I was so disappointed. I remember I just stomped out that day. Probably that week I had, attended the lectures, but I would not, find it encouraging, because I thought I had gone with expectations. And the whole week that Gurudev was fool that I was, that I missed out on the opportunity in being with him. Then within about 4 or 5 months, there was another program cancelled. I think it was Dubai program that was cancelled. And Gurudev gave those dates to Hyderabad. And look at the compassion. He sends me a letter saying, you have not responded to my earlier 2 letters. This time I'm coming to Hyderabad. I am positive I'll be meeting you. So meet me. So I met him up, and he gave me a hug and he said, hope your anger has subsided. You will understand when you start cherishing these stories. And then he suggested a couple of names, read their life, read their stories. It was only when I reached to the Vedanta course, that is when it kind of became, in that Brahmachari training course, the clarity set in as to what Gurudev had suggested. That is when I started really reading these great masters' biographies, autobiographies. Because what Vedanta tries to teach, these masters have shown it through their autobiographies and biographies. The entire process of practicing it and living that which the knowledge of our Upanishads are pointing at. Drawing this inspiration from them so that we have our faith and belief in the system that we will be embarking in, so that we can get a better grip at our own mind. Because without that, getting a better grip at our life would be an impossibility. So these great men, these great masters, their faith and their methods of working will lay a foundation for us to walk the path. And that gives us the inspiration to find and pave steps towards a positive approach in handling our own mind. while doing or while discovering this, when we approach into the field of our own immediate neighborhood, we should keep our minds open. We should keep our minds open for, as we move towards this effort of tuning ourselves to the positive side, a higher side of our own mind. The nature around us also helps us by giving these pointers. Most of the time, when these pointers happen, we either, in Gurudev's own words, we either ignore them, or we are too busy, or we are sleeping. One of these above. But if we pay attention, we'll see that there are so many pointers that are coming towards us. But one thing that Gurudev warns us, that if we are truly sincere to discover ourselves, our true potential, and to unleash this mind so that it can make a good step towards finding that freedom within, one has to start with a selfless method, a selfless attitude, without which anything moving forward becomes difficult, becomes misguided. How should one, with this constant effort of pulling our own mind up to the higher standpoint, to a positive attitude and positive nature, how should we strengthen it? As it comes in several scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, for example, talks about the values that one should encourage and enrich one's own intellect with. There are the 20 pointers. Those 20 pointers come in the 13th chapter. Amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa, kshantirarjavam, acharyopasanam, shaucham. So it continues. There are 20 pointers. One should be sincere. One should have the interest of not cheating oneself or the others in the name of spirituality. That one should be guiding one's own mind with that sincerity. If we are talking of spiritual growth, it is not about how many recognize me, how many applaud me for my spiritual growth, or the entire process gets derailed because our attitude is on the wrong direction. So that sincerity is required, so that we have our mind constantly focused on this effort to improve oneself inside out. Without that sincerity, moving forward becomes extremely difficult. Now, how should one make sure that our minds constantly is raised to that higher perspective and sincerity? Gurudev suggests a simple method. This comes in the page 4, where he says, daily prayer and meditation are all wonderful therapeutic agencies in building up peace and happiness within an individual. One word of caution here: don't go with over enthusiasm, because we read that, Brahma Muhurta Kala, I have to wake up, so 4 o'clock, and do all these sadhanas. If we have never woken up before 5:30 or 6, suddenly shifting gears and waking up at 4 o'clock, maybe initial inspiration you would probably be able to catch with that for 2 days, maybe 3 days. But then after that, the 4th day, you'll take the break with vengeance to not go back to that process ever again. So if you are trying to accommodate these steps in life, Do it in a very meticulous, simple manner of doables. When I say meticulous, doable, simple steps, say supposing you're waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning and you have to accommodate these 2 steps, wake up at least by say 5:30, so that now you have an added extra half hour where you can freshen up, take a shower, sit in front of the altar, light a lamp, light incense, and then sit with a sincere heart to do the daily prayers, daily japa. And in the process of meditation, I would suggest that we focus on our breath, slow our breath down, inhale slowly, exhale slowly. Do that for a count of 21 times and do the japa, the repetition of the name of the Lord, whoever is your Ishtadeva. Repeat it so that at least one mala is about 108 times of that japa, that many beads that you have to rotate. But one thing that I request is, once you take this up, try to stick to that schedule, try to stick to that time and not break. Be sincere in following it through. Rain or shine, stick to that pattern, for that sincere effort is what is going to yield a further strength. Because most of us have the desires, convictions, but lack the power to follow it through, so that we can achieve some beautiful results, for which consistency is the key, a disciplined consistency. And as I said earlier, do not overdo it by trying to wake up too early, or by overburdening yourself. No, I will do 1,000 nama. You're just starting. So when you're just starting, start with 108 and keep to it for at least few months before you can shift gears. Now the mind, when it is being encouraged and enriched with these steps, slowly and steadily you will find that the unnecessary fluctuations, unnecessary wobbling of our mind is reducing. The texture of it to consistently be with one topic, focus has increased. The ability for it to penetratingly look through any incident, event, or experience before it can impact us, you are trying to evaluate it. The capacity of that, the tenacity of that mind has changed, has increased. Now, these are our signs to see how our mind has made good progressive change. Our mind, if you go into Tattva Bodha, it very beautifully describes that it is made from the most sincere, most sattvic of the elements. Sattvikamshat antakaranam sambhutam. It is made from the most sattvic elements. So the creator has created it in most purest of the material. But it matters as to what we carry in that bag which has been given to us, that container that has been given to us. Now it is our choice what kind of thoughts we entertain in it. Are there those thoughts which loop in positivity, or those thoughts which spiral down with negativity? Now that conscious effort has to be put in. Therefore, sadhana doesn't get restricted only to the seat of meditation early morning, but it continues from there on to be consciously available to think through and follow it, that the mind, as to what texture of thought is being encouraged, what kind of thought am I being involved in, engaged in. However overwhelming the situation be, always take the higher route in trying to resolve, rather than stooping down to anger, agitation, frustration, jealousy, weaknesses. The moment you find yourself, don't beat yourself. It's okay. It happens initially that we may not be able to do it all the way through. But as soon as you catch it, don't beat yourself. Don't try to strangle yourself by saying, oh gosh, I've been wrong, I've been bad, these things will happen. The moment you recognize, you'll have to step back and go back to step one and repeat the whole thing. It's a constant practice without giving up. As soon as you recognize that you're going down, you have to pull it up. Now with this, through the prayer, we get to the mind which is more at a stabler environment within. Now with this stable mind, stable antakarana, what do we do? That Puja Gurudev covers in the next chapter. Oh, this chapter is so beautiful. And each word, each paragraph that you go through is like, you feel like you can discuss for hours at end. The first topic that he starts, he says, with this kind of stable mind, we get the opportunity to interact with the world outside, work with the world outside. Now this working with the world outside, we do not have a choice of not working. All that we have is the freedom to choose how I respond and what kind of attitude I carry when I work in this world. I do not have a choice about choosing which kind of job, which kind of work that I can. The responsibility cannot be changed. But how I respond to the responsibilities, that is in my hand. Now, once I choose that, then my flow of thoughts should be in such a way that in the earlier chapter we discussed about selflessness. In this chapter, Gurudev says, now the action that you are performing with guided righteousness, when performed, has to be dedicated to the highest altar. Now, what happens when we dedicate to the highest altar? The higher that we dedicate it to, the deeper is our inspiration. The deeper is our inspiration, more focused, and the ability that we have, the abilities that we have, that unfolds. The ability to give ourselves that chance to unfold these amazing capacities our mind and intellect hold can be a possibility only for this stable mind which is dedicating it to the highest altar. The higher, remember always, higher the dedication, the deeper is the inspiration. With that inspiration and the conviction that we can give the best to the world around. There is more that we can speak on this particular chapter, but with the time map that has been given, I think I'll stop here and see if there are any questions and we can answer them.
Hi, Swamiji. Thank you. Our first question comes from Siddharth. So Siddharth, I will unmute you if you can please ask your question.
Hi, as Swamiji was discussing, I was just curious what he meant by Satvik.
Satvik means purity. When the mind or the antakarana, which is the internal equipment, mind and intellect, specifically here speaking, is made of the purest of the material. So when we say that, oh, my mind has so much of agitated thoughts, so much of frictional thoughts that I have, it kind of bothers me. It is not that the mind is bad. It is just that my mind is a container which is made of pure elements, because mind is also matter. Thought is also matter, but is of a subtler nature. But it is made up of the most pure elements as it is given to us. In that pure material, it is like you got a good wallet. What do I carry in that wallet is my choice. So in that pure material called mind, what I carry as thought is my choice. What I entertain in that field of mind, it's a construct. What I introduce in there, the input, the output will be exactly as the input. If the input has been flimsy, if the input has been negative, the output also will be negative. Therefore, do not blame your mind that the mind is wrong. Why has the creator given me such bad mind? Mind has been given is the most entertain in it is the choice that I have. Hope, Siddharth, I have answered your question. Okay, gotcha.
Swamiji, our next question is coming from Shivanand. So I will unmute you.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om. How are you? All the way from the islands. Okay, ask your question.
Okay. Swamiji said that try to do the sadhana every day at the same time. Why is it more important to do it at the same time as opposed to doing like a certain amount of sadhana every day, but at different slots when you can?
There is a magic to discipline, and that too if it is invoked by the self for the self.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are physical habits.
Mm-hmm.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner at a certain time. Waking up at a certain time. Sleeping at a certain time. So when you encourage the mind to follow a certain pattern, the best part is when we are following a disciplined life versus in comparison with a life where there is no discipline, it seems like at that point of comparison, both are yielding the same kind of result. But then when life takes an ugly turn, because nobody can promise us that our whole experiences are going to be hunky-dory, are going to be awesome all the time. But when these experiences takes a complete southern turn, goes south, it is at that time when our life is derailed. The pre-existing discipline puts it back on track faster so that you can cohesively bring yourself together and face life with equipoise. It is at that time this discipline kicks in. So in order to maintain, when you maintain that discipline, it is I, the individual, who is going to benefit from it at a later stage when things are not great.
Okay. So the discipline allows you to maintain your composure regardless of what obstacles you may face.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. If you have any questions, please forward them to Shubhani ji. She will unmute you so that you can ask the questions. Okay, Sahana.
Hari Om Swamiji. In chapter 2, Gurudev says that excuses are expressions of weakness and not to make such excuses. But often I do make excuses to myself to help justify mistakes in spiritual practices so that I can move forward. Is that correct, or how do I resolve this?
Yes, that was the very next topic in the second chapter, where he says, let our work speak for itself. No covering it with an excuse. Excuses are mere expressions of our weakness. Whenever we try to be sincere and look at our own excuses, we know that it is just a feel-good factor that we are providing for ourselves. That's why I was emphasizing in the first chapter that we have to be sincere with ourselves and with everyone that we interact with. Without that integrity, we will fail. This sadhana will help only that individual who is sincere. And when we find that we are giving in to various excuses that the mind can pull, see, I can understand that there is overwhelming thing, and say your flight got cancelled. By the time you reached home, it was late at night. Maybe you reached at 1:32, and to wake up early in the morning is difficult. These are not excuses, these are happenings. Excuses are when life is the same, but then instead of doing sadhana, I provide, oh, you know what, I think I've been doing this sadhana for last whole 3 days. I think I deserve a break. I think I'm getting burnt out. I think I should take a break. And then we'll start finding these excuses to not follow, in spite of everything being on time, everything being in its own place. Those excuses are the expressions of our weakness. The Adi Bhautika, the things that are coming for Adi Bhautika means that which are coming from the outside parameter, which are impacting our life, that is not in your hand. But those which are in our hand, and we still are not pulling ourselves up to be able to focus. So he says here, our own tiredness, fatigue, and lethargy, because we get tickled by the outside world too often. I mean, tickled is a very gentle word that he has used. We are dragged into it, and we use these excuses to cover ourselves, to make look like, I would have done things, but it just shows that we are not being sincere to ourselves. So cut those excuses and pull yourself up. If there's something happens, like health doesn't permit, you're down with fever, nobody is expecting you to sit on the seat of meditation while fever. That is understandable. But the lethargy and the weaknesses that we have, instead of following a discipline, if you have to wake up half an hour early, you have to sleep early. But there they say, you know what, I think I can pull it, and I neglect that, and it's going to impact my morning. And then it is a domino effect. Those kinds of excuses have to be avoided. And as you put your effort, you will see that the returns of what peace and the texture of your mind changing will itself be a great proof for yourself and inspiration for yourself to move forward. Hope I got to you, Sadhana. Good.
If anyone else would like to send a question in, we have time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions. While waiting for that, Swamiji, we were curious to know which books Puja Gurudev had recommended to Swamiji so that we could also start reading them.
Couple of books that Gurudev had suggested. One was the biography and autobiography, and the second one was, because my question was, but I want to read about Mahabharata, Ramayana and such things, but I don't know Sanskritam. How do I do it? So he suggested 2 sets of books. So one thing that he suggested to me was, how about reading Shivananji's life? How about reading Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's life? There is one of his students, Master M. Mahendranath, he has compiled Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. So Guru has and Himalayas, he was called Swami Purushothamanandji. I don't remember the book, but I remember the name. Also read Papa Ramdas from Kanjangad Ashram. In fact, the books that Gurudev had suggested today are available free download. Then I think these were the 4 or 5 people that Gurudev had mentioned. Then for Mahabharata, Ramayana and Bhagavata, Gurudev had suggested me to read Kamala Subramanian's English translation. Does not hurt, any recurrences, she removes them and presents the whole story as is. Though not shloka by shloka, but the entire content is there. But a narrative through and through without putting her dialogue in there. So all three books have been amazing read. So
Swamiji?
Yes.
Sorry, Swamiji, we lost Swamiji on some places. If Swamiji can kindly just repeat the titles, that way we can be clear about them.
Swami Shivananji, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Swami Purushottamananda, God. Are you able to hear me?
We lost Swamiji after Swami Purushottamananda.
Purushottamananji is from Vasishta Guha. Then Papa Ramdas from Kerala, Anjangad Ashram. It's called Anand Ashram. And his books are available online to download as well. One very inspiring book by hope you are able to hear me.
We lost Swamiji after one very inspiring book.
One very inspiring book is In Quest of God by Papa Ramdas. And Kamala Subramanian's English translation of Mahabharata Ramayana. This one, Kamala Subramaniam, Mahabharata, Ramayana and Bhagavatam.
Okay.
These were suggested by Gurudev himself.
Okay. Swamiji, we have time for just one last question. It's from Shubha. So Shubha, I will go ahead and unmute you.
Hari Om Swamiji. So my question was, I'm a freshman in college, and I think one thing that I'm struggling with adjusting to is like the changing daily schedule of college. It's really hard to build a routine because every day I have like a different class that starts at a different time. So I've been having a hard time like maintaining my sadhana in like a disciplined manner. So I was just wondering if you had any advice for that.
Is there not one common time that can be found throughout the day? I mean, throughout the week?
Either like really early in the morning or like late at night, I guess.
So choose one of them.
Okay.
And if for somebody in your position does not have that freedom of choice about timing, then I would say as soon as you find the time, the first thing in the morning when you find time, slot it and find those 15-20 minutes, sit down, do your japa and meditation, and then go for the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shubha. Swamiji, now we just have a few announcements.
Go ahead.
Hemant.
Hari Om, everybody is able to see my screen?
Yes, we're able to see.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so we got a bunch of very exciting events lined up. Yeah, everybody is able to see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Okay. So yeah, this was an amazing Booklight session, Swamiji. I'm sorry I joined late, but I'm actually currently speaking from the courtyard of my office. So I'm gonna try to make this quick. The next Booklight session is it's on President's Day in 2 weeks. This is with Swami Shantananji, as you can see, and it's good to pre-read chapters 3 and 4 beforehand, okay? So if you enjoyed tonight, and those of you who came for Puja Swami Swarupananji's first session, if you enjoyed these first 2 sessions, then please do come. And the best part is, it is, after all, a long weekend. So extra motivation for everybody to participate in this. Right, next one. Oh, okay, yeah. Shimani, I believe registration for Bay Area Camp is still open and will close tonight, right?
Yes.
Yes, so there's still time to register for the San Jose Chick Retreat with Shubhani Ji. The topic is going to be Art of Self-Love from Bhagavad Gita chapter 16, and it's from February 14th through 17th, 2020. So, and it just so happens that coincidentally, the day on which it starts is Valentine's Day, yes? So it's the perfect way to introduce the art of self-love, because what better way than to hear from Shubhani Ji about how to love oneself, yes? So please do register by tonight, okay? Okay. Having been to YEP, I'm going to say this is one of the most amazing things that anybody could do over the summer. Sadhana is also a YEP, a U of Ears, so she can also speak more. But registration is not yet open, but it will be open soon on CHYKWest.com. There is a tab for YEP on that. This time it will be from June 8th to July 26th at Chinmaya Mangalam, which is an amazingly beautiful place south of Dallas, about 80 miles south, right, Swamiji?
Yes, it is about 70 miles from Dallas Airport.
Yeah, it's got everything. I'm not going to say more than that, but so cost is if you plan to do part-time seva, which basically means that you will you'll serve at your center, closest center, but will still be going to college or working, then it's $1,500 for early bird before March 31st. After March 31st, it'll be $2,000. If you plan to do full-time seva, which means that you go to India and serve at a place like Chinmaya International Foundation or Siddhabadi, then it'll be free. So again, the date is from June 8th to July 26th. You're in for an amazing summer if you register. So I highly recommend everyone who has not done it before to register. And if you have any questions, you definitely feel free to reach out to any of the Yuvavirs. So I'm very happy to announce that the Bay Area is going to be hosting the 27th Mahasamadhi Camp from July 30th to August 3rd in a hotel, which is actually very close from San Francisco Airport. There's a free shuttle. Pujya Swami Sarveshananda is going to be facilitating, along with many other Swamis and Brahmacharis from all across the US. In fact, this one is unique because this is going to be the first time that Shishu Vihar is going to take place. Shishu Vihar is basically for ages 3 to 5. So for those of you who have kids or know anybody with kids in that range, please tell them to come, because this is going to be the very first time that we're going to be doing this. And as for the main text, it is Sri Adi Shankaracharya Ji's Manisha Panchakam. I believe it is a collection of 5 verses. Correct me if I'm wrong. And that's not going to be the only thing. There will be activities for just for chicks, and it's going to be amazing food as always, and a lot of cultural programs. And it's the opportunity to meet over 70, at least a lot of chicks from all over North America. So please do register. You can find the registration details at chinmayaaradhana2020.org. Yeah, so you can see it's on the posters. So highly encourage everybody to register. It'll be an amazing set of days, which, yeah, was unforgettable. And lastly, those of you who were at National Chick Camp last year, I was one of them. Pujya Swami Sarveshananda conducted Storm to Perform in Mangalam. So this is going to be the second one where he will, and this time it is going to be in Chicago from August 14th to 16th. And registration will come up very shortly, but please save the date, because it's an opportunity that you definitely don't want to miss. Puja Swami Swarupananji is absolutely amazing, and he has taken time from his busy schedule to really, have this weekend for all the chicks. So please do take full advantage of that. Shivani ji, Swami, any other announcements, or is that it?
From me, that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it, Hemant. Thank you.
Okay. Let me get
Thank-
off my.
Yeah, if you can stop share, Hemant. Thank you, Swamiji, for spending time with us, for sharing with us anecdotes of Puja Gurudev and Swamiji, and for sharing a reflection on chapters 1 and 2. And I'll pass it now over to Amarji for the closing prayers.
Thank you all for joining too.
Thank you.
Hari Om Swamiji, thank you so much. We'll do a closing mantra and wishing everyone Hari Om, and we'll see you all at the next Booklight. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om, everyone.
Hari Om, everyone.